Well, Melissa McCarthy's back in the news, and anytime she opens her mouth, it's not a good time for anyone.
The following is a world-class bullshitters exclusive.
Melissa McCarthy is an actor very few people seem to love. Everyone knows her, a lot of people like her, but I find very few people absolutely love her. She's a big part of many of her films, but most of her films are kind of forgettable. But the one film that is so unforgettably bad, Ghostbusters, 2016 of course, is back in the news because Melissa McCarthy, well, again, she opened her mouth and a good time was had by none. Ghostbusters 2016 actress Melissa McCarthy recently revealed that she's baffled that the moviegoers think reboots and relaunches are wrong. Oh, that Melissa, saying something silly again. Let's follow. While promoting her upcoming film The Starling, McCarthy did an interview with Yahoo Entertainment's Kevin Polloy, where she was asked her thoughts on the Ghostbusters 2016 film. Polloy asks, "How do you look back at Ghostbusters 2016 5 years later, now with perspective? Do you share many fans' viewpoints that it was underrated?" McCarthy responded stating, "There's no end to stories we can tell, and there's so many reboots and relaunches and different interpretations. To say any of them are wrong, I just don't get it. I don't get the fight to see who can be the most negative and the most hate-filled. Everybody should be able to tell the story they want to tell, and if you don't see it, you don't have to see it," she continued. It doesn't appear that anyone is stopping anyone from making reboots and relaunches in Hollywood as film studios constantly churn them out. Just this month alone, we got announcements for Babylon 5 and Flight of the Navigator reboots. And clearly, there are plenty of reasons why a reboot or relaunch can be viewed as wrong. One of the biggest reasons is the rebooted or remade film is altered to push an evil ideology. Another is the fact that the story has already been told. If there are so many stories to tell, as McCarthy claims, then why do you need to reboot or remake? The most obvious answer is corporate greed, and the idea of making a quick and easy buck. Although it's unclear how effective that idea really is, now with Ghostbusters 2016 being a prime example. Not only did people not watch Ghostbusters 2016, but they didn't go to see Melissa McCarthy's The Kitchen. Maybe the ironic thing is that McCarthy shows her own disdain for critics' soulless corporate reboots and remakes that are pushing evil ideologies like feminism by describing them as negative and hate-filled. Evil ideology. I don't know if I'd call it evil. Dumb, pointless, irrelevant, repetitive. Those are the words I'd use to describe modern-day feminism. Evil is what I'd use to describe Ghostbusters 2016. I would just like to take a quick second to talk about Melissa McCarthy's comments on reboots and different interpretations. Yeah, I don't understand what's happening. It's like everybody just thinks because you think you should be able to, there should be a remake or a reboot to tell your story. I'm sitting here in this office, I'm looking at some Back to the Future merchandise. I don't give a fuck what actor needs to reinterpret Back to the Future. It's the story of Marty McFly, played by Michael J. Fox. He has to get back to his own time after an accident sends him back to 1955. I don't fucking care. And yeah, I'm going to use the harsh language. I don't fucking care about any millennial interpretation of Back to the Future. And guess what? I'm a fucking millennial. I'm in that age group. I think the people that are my age making entertainment suck ass. That's why I make it myself and do a much better job at it. I don't need Ghostbusters 2016 to tell me that reboots and remakes are a bad idea. What Ghostbusters 2016 told me was how you don't treat your audience. Melissa McCarthy, oh, it's just hate-filled and everybody should be able to tell the story they don't want to tell. Bitch, a couple of years ago, you're the one talking shit about us because we didn't want a remake of Ghostbusters. You people, and yeah, I'm going to say the phrase you people made it politicized. You people made it about feminism. We just didn't want Ghostbusters without Bill Murray, Dan Aykroyd, the late Harold Ramis, and Ernie Hudson. Why don't you people that make this shit or write about it, understand where we're coming from? I find it so interesting that an actress like Melissa McCarthy likes to skirt the issue here. She's not really that stupid, is she? Well, hold on, I could be wrong here. She did star in Ghostbusters 2016. I'll give her the benefit of the doubt that she's not full-on stupid, but I did hear they're doing a gender-swapped reboot of Simple Jack, and I can't think of an actress more appropriate to portray a simpleton who's been kicked in the head by a horse. That would make me happy. I do think reboots and remakes are stupid across the board. I mean, we got The Matrix coming up. Whew. Look, The Matrix ended in 2003 for me, if you were there. See, these films are these huge cultural touchstones, these huge cultural landmarks, but we live in the era of, what about me? What about me? I can't relate. I wasn't alive. Guess what? All my favorite shit came out before I was born, yet I talk about it like it's brand fucking new. I don't need another Beverly Hills Cop. I didn't need another Star Wars. I didn't need it remade to get in. I'm sorry that most of today's people are fucking stupid. And you got these studios that perpetuate that. You're going from Matrix 3 to Matrix 1. Wait, what? It's called Matrix 4, or whatever the hell those titles are called. It's a soft reboot of the original. Let's go back. Force Awakens, already talked about it. Halloween 2018. What's that? Oh, it's not a reboot, Jeff. The first movie still happens. Yeah, but it retcons the entire fucking saga afterwards. It's one of those movies. All of these reboots, remakes, requels, what we'll call them here on the channel, officially, they're requels. They're between a sequel and a remake. Or a reboot, if you will. We should just call them Riri, because that's what they are at the end of the day. Really, really ridiculous bad ideas. That's what the Riri stands for. But Melissa McCarthy is just like many other actors who miss the point. I wish they would understand that the corporate soulless greed that the article talked about, we the consumers can see right through that. I'm not a Jurassic Park fan. I do enjoy the first film, but hear me out. I didn't see it until it turned 20. I caught it at the 20th anniversary IMAX screening, and it was excellent. Since then, I own many Jurassic Park toys and the films on 4K, so I clearly enjoyed what I saw. But before I really became a fan in the last couple of years, I always saw the Jurassic World and Dominion, and yes, I'm aware of when they came out in relation to the 20th anniversary of Jurassic Park, but I always thought of those as kind of cashless soul grabs. Wait, strike that. Reverse it. It's like those remakes, those other movies that are like, what's the difference between that and the original? Well, you just got a different actor. And in the case of Jurassic Park, it's incredibly wise to go as far from Jeff Goldblum as you possibly can, because nobody can top Jeff Goldblum. Not even Jeff Goldblum. But what ends up happening with a lot of these movies is they don't have much value. Earlier when I talked about films for prior generations, a lot of these movies, like A Matrix 4, The Force Awakens, are perfect films for a studio. They can remake the old film, they can get a new audience, and then they can make merchandise based off the old stuff and the new versions. So it's like a double win. Let's use Han Solo, for example. Force Awakens, 2015. You got the film, which is essentially A New Hope. Then you got the 3 3/4 inch action figure, the 6-inch Black Series action figure. You got the Hot Toys doll. Need I go on? Oh, well, Han Solo can't be alone. You got Chewbacca in all those scales and all those price points. Then, they need the Millennium Falcon. Well, if it's a Hot Toy, it's too big for a Millennium Falcon, but there's a new Millennium Falcon for your 3 3/4 inch toy, and guess what? Those things historically flopped. Check out my record-breaking videos on the Star Wars toys to see what I mean. After they shock these old IPs back to life and wring them dry in record time, they're just a lifeless husk on the shelf that we can all see. It's kind of embarrassing. It's like the old man at the end of Wizard of Oz. Oh, don't look behind the curtain. Nah, you don't want to see that old white guy. You want to see Oz, the great and powerful, the floating green head, which always made me uncomfortable, but I digress. You never want to see these characters in their down moments. And that's how we remember them, their most recent showing. It's sad to phrase it like this, but when you say Star Wars, a lot of people probably think of the more recent ones sucking ass than they do the prequels, which are nowhere near as bad as those ones. Now, luckily, Star Wars does have the benefit of being the biggest thing of all time, so when you say Star Wars, you kind of think the original films or Darth Vader himself. Would you argue Darth Vader is the most iconic Star Wars character? Tell me in the comments down below. Now, for the last couple of months, Melissa McCarthy has been running home with her tail between her legs because there's a little film called Ghostbusters Afterlife coming out, which is an attempt to wipe away the bullshit that was Ghostbusters 2016. Folks, it takes a special kind of asshole, Ghostbusters 2016, to need a film to just pop up and erase the other one. And guess what? It's sad to say it, but no matter how good or bad Ghostbusters Afterlife is, it's an attempt to get rid of 2016 and salvage the Ghostbusters brand, because the Ghostbusters brand prior to 2016 was in a perfect place. You'd get a video game that served as the third film, you got merchandise on an anniversary, you got high-end collectibles coming out regularly. That is where all classic properties need to go. The only one that can lead by example is Back to the Future. You can get the most expensive Marty McFly toy, you can get the cheapest Marty McFly toy, but guess what? You can't get Marty McFly from Back to the Future 4 because there will never, ever be one. And sometimes it takes a little bit of artistic integrity and, quite frankly, the balls to tell these studios no. Bob Gale, Bob Zemeckis, thumbs up, they got balls. Now, the Ghostbusters crew got a set of the size you wouldn't believe of, but it's a little different situation there. That's corporate greed with a stupid studio like Sony and a bad ideology like modern-day feminism. Nothing can stop that shit. That's what they call the forward motion of progress in entertainment, folks. And if that's forward progress, well, goddamn plant me back in the 80s. I wasn't even alive for most of that decade, but I would rather live in a world where I can go to a cinema and see Blade Runner, E.T., and The Thing all in a fucking sitting. But if I go today, I'm going to see Well, they're killing James Bond. That's great. Hey, another Marvel reboot. That's awesome. What is this horror movie? Oh, Candyman? I love Tony Todd. Oh, Tony Todd's not the Candyman? Fuck this shit. Who's this? Anyway, I digress. Hollywood is like the land of bastardized toys. Remember that toy box you had as a kid? You had Superman, you had Batman, you had Spider-Man. He's the best. You had all these great superhero toys. You had the Power Rangers. You had all these wonderful Power Rangers. You had the X-Men. You had all these great things that you remember them as they were. But every once in a while, somebody came into your toy box, took a leak, and yellowed the plastic. So now Superman's got a little jaundiced look to him, and Batman just smells like piss. And you don't feel the same way about them as you used to. No matter how much cleaning you do, if you soak it, use Tide Pods instead of eating them like you're supposed to, if you do all of these wonderful things to clean up the old IPs, guess what? They still look jaundiced and they still smell like piss. And that's what happens with all of these properties. So Melissa McCarthy, that's why everybody can't have their own little interpretations, because some people like you fuck it up for the rest of us. Guess what? There doesn't need to be another Ghostbusters, but there can be a Wokebusters, and that's coming in November, folks, so sign up for that next week. But I wish people like Melissa McCarthy understood the weight, no fat joke intended, that their words hold. Ghostbusters 2016 is a failure, was a failure, will forever be a failure. Your trailer sucked, your movie sucked. You committed the number one crime that a comedy should never commit. What is that? Very simple, folks. If a comedy's not funny, it's not a comedy. It's a failure. And that's what Ghostbusters 2016 was. So folks, thank you for watching. Hope you enjoyed today's video. Let me know what you think about Melissa McCarthy's comments. I think they're bullshit, but I just spent the last 14 minutes telling you why, so I'm gonna go. But let me know what you think down in the comments right now. Also, in the words of The Rock, we finally have a merch store. What does that mean? We finally have t-shirts. You can get our brand new logo design. You can get our classic logo design. You can even go back one step further and get the old GTA Vice City style shirt. Now remember folks, all of this artwork is done by me. So most YouTubers out there, you're buying their designs. Cool, awesome. You want to support the channel. When you support our shirts, you're not only supporting our channel, our brand, but an artist. I did it all myself, just like the comic. And funny enough, you can actually get an old Stealing Solo shirt on the website as well. They'll be up for a while, and then some designs will go away, and we'll introduce new ones, so always be on the lookout, and we will always let you know. But there's one thing we didn't let you know. Where is the merch store? Well, we didn't just go to Etsy or eBay. No, we have our own URL. So go to shopwcbs.com. That's right, shopwcbs.com. Pick up a shirt, pick up a beer glass, get the official beer glass of the official Drunk Commentary. Why? Because we have them, and each time we do a film, if you tag us, we will give you a live shout out on that film. So buy a glass and get a shout out every time. It's a pretty awesome deal if you ask me. So you get a shout out every time, and it's like having a drink with us at the bar, except the bar's digital, but the glass and the booze, that's very much real. So folks, make sure you go to shopwcbs.com. All of that information is in the comments. Remember this one more time, folks. Shop WCBS, powered by Spring. So folks, that's it for today. Thank you for watching. Thank you for grabbing a shirt. I'm going to get out of here. But on the way, do me one favor. Be smart, be safe, be cool, but always be excellent to each other.